I'll be like, perfect. Well, welcome tonight. My name is Ashley Diet, and I am so excited to have just the honor to be a small part of tonight, along with my friends Tracy and Jen and Chelsea and Rachel, and a multitude of others that are hosting and really helping us put a spotlight on protocols. So that word sounds really boring, and I wanted to just highlight it a little bit for you. So the word, by definition, like looking it up, it really dates back to how we had a protocol to greet and honor royalty. So there would be a way that you walked, a way that you bowed down to the royalty, a way that you approached them, words you would say. So when we use a modern day method of having a protocol, it means the plan of action that you take in order to combat a situation in front of you. So the protocol for handling a situation, maybe in the military, is more stringent than the protocol for handling a situation when my one kid smacks the other. But there is a protocol, right? Like there is a method of instruction. There are consequences. And one of the consequences, and when we talk about them tonight, we'll talk about the consequences are just your health, right? Not having it. And there are also rewards for it. So when we talk about a protocol, we're really talking about a course of action that leads us to be disciplined in an area of our life where there are results that are measurable, timely, and life-giving. So that is my made up, that's not from Webster, that's from the Ashley Diet made up definition for you guys. Having people ask me what that meant, I'm like, I got to make up something that means that is the truth, but also fully encompasses what we do. So we are, no matter your faith background or lack of belief in a faith background, and what I mean by that is, please know this is for everyone when I say this, we are all intended to be healers. And that is something that with my whole body, I believe, like mind, body, soul, like we're intended to be healers. We aren't intended to be sick, we're intended to be healthy. So our role as healers is to not only believe our own bodies can be healed and are whole, and believe that others' bodies can be healed and whole, and believe that that healing power is within us to deliver. So for me personally, if it's not your jam, ignore it. For me personally, that healing power comes from my belief in Jesus. So I believe he could heal, therefore I can. Whatever you believe about healing, know that our oils and the protocols we share tonight, they are a pathway to healing, but without the mindset and the belief that you can be fully healed, your body will not do it. If you've been with me before on any calls like this, or we've chatted personally, I am a firm believer that your body will only do what your mind tells it to. So tonight, when you hear us share these, your body will only respond if your mind tells it to. And if you're an athlete, I'm sorry, it's just my pathway of life, how I speak. I know for me, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I have to do a 9-mile tempo run, and it sucks. Warm up, cool down after, it's like horrible. Really, it is. But my mind, if my mind tells my body I can do it, I fly through it mile by mile. And I feel strong, and I feel powerful, and I feel inspirational. If my mind is weak, my body feels feeble, feels weak, feels tired, feels achy. And I want you to think about that when we go through and talk about ears and scalps and first aid. And if you happen to, I don't know, pull something or strain something or can't sleep or can't poop, like I want you to think about that. Your mind is huge in this. And I want to thank you for being with us tonight, because your first step in your health journey, every single time we restart it, because I know for me, I do a health pathway, right? And I'm like, got it. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks. And I'm like, oh, I got it. So when I say health journey, I don't mean your whole health. I mean the pathway you're on of figuring out that one thing, that next thing, that next thing. So I want to encourage you tonight. By showing up, you've done the hardest part of this work. And this hard work is total heart and mind work. So remember that, take good notes tonight. And remember that protocols are going to be things that put you in a structure to lead you to have increased levels of self-discipline that will lead you to your results. And when I talk like this, I think of weight loss. That's not what we're talking about tonight, but weight loss, guys, is a great parallel for every single health journey, right? Consistency, action leads to results. So one more thing I wanted to just read about consistency. that I pulled up earlier in our bodies. When it comes to achieving your health and fitness goals, being consistent with positive changes help you make your lifestyle a new one that results in positive results. And maybe that's wordy, but for me, I'm like, that is true. I have to have consistency, positive change leads me to positive results. So being consistent leads us to really five things. So the first thing that consistency leads me to have is motivation. So I want you to ask yourself, are you sufficiently motivated? So there's ways that we can do this, but new habits are hard to create. Are you motivated to create new habits tonight? Um, I want you to think of this as adding on new things rather than eliminating bad ones. I know for me, an example of that is like reading my Bible consistently. Me saying you're not going, and I'm not a TV person, but in my head, like this is what we do. If I said I'm not going to watch Netflix every night, I'm going to read my Bible instead. That's eliminating a pleasure and replacing it with, honestly, for most of us, like a pain, like something that we're like, oh my gosh, that's hard. So instead of doing that, you add on or you use the principle of addition over elimination. Create new habits. We have habits, we devote our time to them. 21 days of change, we know, helps us create that habit forever. The habit reward cycle. And we've read some books about this year, but there's a 3-step cycle within this habit loop. It's a cue, a routine, a reward. I lay out my Ningxia Nitro the night before. I, by habit, take it in the morning. My reward is more energy. When I have more energy, I have better results in my workout. More tangible habit. When I lay my Life 9 out on my nightstand, I take my Life 9. I have better digestive habits. I poop more. I feel better and don't have headaches. You understand? Like the reward isn't like you eating a piece of cheesecake. It's literally in your body. You'll create this reward that's like you can't stop doing it because the reward is making you feel so good. But with like your kids making their bed, the cue is my bed is messy. The habit is when I make my bed, my mom is happy. The reward is my mom doesn't yell at me. I mean, I know that sounds really silly, but like this is a really simple concept of this habit reward loop. And it's what creates routines and therefore leads us to a life of self-discipline. 4 is keep it simple. So tonight, you're going to hear a bunch. I want to encourage you, no more than 2 at a time. 2 at a time, always fine. 3 or more, not going to score. So 2 at a time, always fine. 3 or more, you're not going to score. And I literally mean if you're like, yes, I need this and this and this, you're going to prioritize which ones you're going to add on. And therefore, your subscribe to save order is going to reflect those new protocols. You're not going to do all of them. Okay. I feel like I have the least fun part of tonight, but I'm really excited about it because it's totally my jam and where I work in a healthy way. And I hope that if you're hearing this for the first time, you're not thinking this sounds so rigid, but you're thinking, okay, I know what I can handle and I want to walk into this handling what I'll see results in. Examples are high quality sleep, 7 to 8 hours. If sleep is a goal, you know what else can't be a goal, guys? You're not going to work on your sleeping, your nutrition, and your exercising the same month. Like you're probably not going to do those protocols and your kids' ear health. Like you're probably not going to tackle all those because those are all going to require time pulls and time sacrifices that we have to trade off. So if you want to sleep 8 hours a night and you're sleeping 5 now, 3 times 7 is 21 hours. 21 hours less that you have to do the things you normally do this week. So think about that. Think about digestion. If you're going to take supplements 3 times a day, it takes 2 minutes, but it takes our brains 10 times as long to understand. So you say 10 extra minutes a day. So 70 extra minutes this week to take my essential time and take my Life 9 and sometimes maybe even comfort tone, like whatever it is. So just want to remind you of that it's okay to give yourself some grace. Number 5 is a proven system. So a proven system, simply put, is if you're supposed to take, if you hear a protocol tonight and they say 6 sulfur time, don't like take 3. Like you should probably take what they say. Also, if we say add all these oils to a capsule, but you only have 2 of them, you're not using the proven system. You're using like a half. I'm sorry if it offends you, but I've always heard that when you put half your ass in something, then you're only halfway there. But if you put your whole ass into it, your whole body weight is there. Therefore, all of you is there. This is so funny to me. I'm like, saying all the things. So guys, I want you to put all of you into it and go all the way there and not halfway. And I'm sorry if I offended you. There are lots of things like habit tracking worksheets, consistency logs. If you're a green personality, if you're a 5, maybe even a 1, I will give those links to you. They are none yet helpful to me because I don't use them, but they do exist and people do use them and they do appreciate their success in using them. But that's really my intro tonight to how it works, because we're going to say all these different things. I want you to bring it together. I want you to make some priorities. I want you to take an actual plan by adding them to your subscribe to save order for August. If you've already processed that, then for September, or process a shop order for August. But then I really want you to remember the mindset piece. Like, your mind is going to be so powerful as you navigate this. And so I'm going to share only one protocol. I'll jump back in later, but I think it's just an easy one to share before I just hand it off. So I, for a long time, have just not been a friend of the yellow stuff that floats in the air when we have seasonal change. Like, it causes me a major distress, and it causes me major distress enough. It affects my physical health and my emotional health. It for sure affects the mental health piece, right? Because I'm just dysfunctional. So for me to be functional, there's a very simple protocol that I use in the fall and spring. And if you're in a different time zone or country or wherever you are, maybe it's a different time of year for you. Really simple protocol. You need to have the items sulfurzyme, allerzyme, lemon, lavender, peppermint, and copaiba essential oils. And for secondary assets to this plant, Roman chamomile, hinoki, breathe again roll-on, okay? And clarity. For some of you are like, what? But I'm telling you, clutch. So the simple protocol is I take and I enjoy and I use, my body responds to 18 sulfurzyme a day, 3 different times of the day, 6 each. And I've shared this so many times and people always message me and they're like, hey, did you say? I'm like, I did. What did you say, Ashley? I'm like, that's what I said. I take a big dose of them that my body enjoys and loves. For allerzyme, they're very tiny. I tend to use a handful at a time, multiple times per day. For the protocol aspect, where you want me to tell you exactly what I do, I would say 4 to 6. Someone who is really green is going to laugh. 4 to 6 times a day. But really, it's probably 20 of them twice a day, multiple bottles a week. I mean, I'm just going to tell you. So the protocol is, let's say 4 to 6 times a day. What do I really do? A handful of them whenever I feel like I need some support. And this is a 2 to 3 week duration for me of this heavy loading. I take equal parts lemon, lavender, peppermint, copaiba. So if it's 20 drops, 20 drops, 20 drops, 20, whatever that looks like. If you have a 15 ml bottle, you dump them all in. You have a dropper, you dump it in. And then I fill to the brim a 0.0 size capsule. That's 12 to 15 drops, depending on what brand you get. I take that capsule in the morning and in the evening. I use Vitality, of course, for those oils. And I then take the same blend and undiluted for the capsule, undiluted for the roller. If you choose to dilute, not my protocol, but here's what I do. Undiluted in a roller, same blend, 20, 20, 20, 20, right? A 1-to-1 ratio. And I roll it, the back of my neck where my eustachian tubes drain, all around my ears. I actually roll it, ready for it, right under here, about 2 inches below my eye. I put it in my nostrils. I actually put it on my eyebrows. I put it on the front of my neck. How often do I do that? As often as I need to. Sometimes it's every 20 minutes, sometimes it's every 2 hours. And the next thing with that same dropper blend, since it's undiluted, and I do make it in a dropper, I should have said that. You can do it in a 15 ml bottle, whatever ratio. So when I do it in a dropper, it's more like 50, 50, 50, 50, right? Some I've used before, honestly, I've used a 6-ounce dropper and done a full bottle of each. It just depends on what I have on hand. But then I can also diffuse the same blend. And so I tend to like to use the same blend to use topically, internally, and diffuse. And I use the Vitality, and I'm able to use it for all. Next part of the protocol is hinoki. Hinoki is a it's for external use only. So I like to get Hinoki as close as possible to the back of my tongue. So when I apply that topically, that maybe that's the outside of my cheek or the inside, depending on whatever's closest possible for you to the back of your tongue. And that was a game changer for me. I really tend to use it when I get a scratchy throat. Like right now, even I kind of have a scratchy throat. Right now, it's probably more from overuse of my vocal cords, but it would probably help that too, to use as close to the back of my tongue as possible. So that's here or here or here, whatever works for you. And Roman chamomile. I do not put that in my blend. I add it to the capsule individually. Okay. I hope this is helpful. Yep. I feel like I should probably stop. Breathe Again, Raven, RC, all of those topically diffused, great to go. Really wanted to talk about the supplements. That was huge. Ningxia Red, it's again, the reason it's not included like per se in that protocol for me is it's everyone's foundational base. So without that, I don't really know where I would be. I will share more later. Thanks for letting me have some of your time to talk about how it works in our bodies and how our minds work. And guys, I'm so excited for you to step into this new season. If you are an oiler of 8 years or an oiler of 8 days, I want to encourage you. You will learn a lot and you will apply it in your life, and you are going to move forward with your health because you believe in yourself and you're investing that time tonight. All right. So who am I handing it off to next?
Go. That was so good, Ashley. Thank you so much for that opening, and always love to hear your protocols, especially when it comes to pain and allergies. So I've got one. You may have heard me talk about it before, but I feel like I will go to the places that nobody wants to talk about because I am not afraid to just put it out there. So let's talk about the itchy down there protocol. Okay. Yes, down there. So whether it be, I used to deal with this all the time. Okay. Yeast infections, especially when I used to be on birth control when I was younger. My dentist months ago had given me an antibiotic because I was getting some dental work done. And I really didn't want to take it, but I kind of got scared into taking it. You guys, I took one instant yeast infection. It was like instant. And I only took the one. I was like, I'm done. Forget it. I'm just going to go back to what I know, right? My oregano, my inner defense. And that's what I just stuck to. But I had that yeast infection for about a week. So let me just tell you the itchy down there protocol. Okay. Tampon, put some carrier oil on it. It doesn't have to be soaked, maybe just a few drops, 2 to 3 drops of tea tree. And then you stick it in, right? And you leave it in for at least 2 hours. And then you repeat that like 2 to 3 times a day or until the itchiness subsides. So for me, it was like a couple of days and then the itchiness kind of went away. But you know, your gut is still kind of in balance for a very long time. I mean, antibiotics can throw your gut off for months. So in addition to that, what I did, I was taking like 5 Life 9s a day, and I was doing that for at least a week. And then after that, I kind of bumped it down to about 3 a day for another week. And then I went back to my normal 1 to 2 a day. So you're really going to want to bump up that the probiotic, the Life 9, like don't be afraid, like do it. Okay. But the tampon with the tea tree works amazing. You would think tea tree, is it going to be okay in there? Like, is it too strong? It's actually okay. It wasn't too strong for me personally. It's not like oregano, right? It's nothing like that. It's very, very mild. So if you have the need, right, that's the itchy down there protocol. Another one that I feel like, man, it's all this stuff, right? Like when I travel, let me just tell you, I get backed up. I don't know what it is. My gut does not like to be traveling outside of our zip code, but whenever we travel, I get backed up, like I get constipated. So when I'm traveling, and I'm gonna create, I think Chelsea had talked about maybe we'll create graphics for some of these different protocols, and I'll post it into the chat too. Okay, so make sure you keep the notes. But this is my backed up protocol, especially when traveling. I think there's something that happens, like your body knows you're traveling and you're away from home. It's just not relaxed on your home toilet. Like, I don't know what it is. But this is what I have to do, and I have to travel with it. Comfort Tone. I do 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. I also do 2 Essential Zyme before my biggest meal. And then I'll do 2 Life 9 before bed, 2 ounces of Ningxia Red anytime during the day. Unwind supplement. You guys know that Unwind, that kid supplement, right? So I love to travel with it. It's like in these individual servings. Magnesium is often a reason why a magnesium deficiency is often a reason why we're backed up. And then I'll also do digest or peppermint, just a couple of drops on the tongue here and there throughout the day. And that usually tends to kind of get things moving. And of course, lots of water. I feel like hydration is also kind of a big thing. And then when I get home, I'm still following that same protocol, but I'm usually bumping back up. If I don't see that I'm going at least once or twice a day, I'll bump up the comfort tone to 2 in the morning, 2 at night, and then I'll add an ICP, either regular ICP or ICP daily. I don't like to travel with ICP simply because I feel like I need to be near a toilet. And when I'm traveling, I'm usually on the go doing things, I'm busy. So I usually wait to do that when I get home, but comfort tone usually loosens things up enough. And if I drink enough water, right, and do all the other things, I find that that's usually enough to get things going. But when I get home, I like to do the ICP or the ICP daily. A couple more protocols that I'm going to share. This is my absolute favorite one for kiddos. It can work for adults too, but Kai, my youngest, when he gets sick, it's like he just gets this cough, right? It's just this cough and it keeps him up and he's like coughing all night and it just doesn't go away. This is my like all-time best quell the cough protocol. Okay. The secret ingredient is peace and calming. I don't know if you've heard me talk about this before. You may not know this. Okay. So peace and calming, has blue tansy, orange, tangerine, patchouli, ylang-ylang. You may not know this. Patchouli is great for coughs. Blue tansy is like a natural antihistamine. So it really helps, especially with that like barky or like deep cough. So peace and calming, like if you have nothing else, just use the roller, peace and calming roller, but chest and back. You need to apply it to the back too. That's really, really key. But what I like to do is peace and calming, 3 drops. 3 drops of frankincense. Did you guys know that frankincense is amazing for cough? Oh my goodness, right? And both of those are really, really safe for kids too. And then I'll add in either 3 drops of RC, Raven, Ravensara, or Myrtle. It just depends. Like when Kai was younger, I was more focused on doing Myrtle and not doing as much of the eucalyptus. So there's a little bit of like, word on the street with eucalyptus, right? Like some people say, don't use it on kids under 2. Some people are okay with it. If you've got breathing, asthma related stuff in the family, you might want to just hold off on the eucalyptus. Myrtle is phenomenal. Totally, you can use Myrtle and it's great for kiddos. So again, 3 drops of peace and calming, 3 drops of frank, and then you choose either 3 drops of Raven, RC, Ravensara, or Myrtle, okay? So I just like put it in my hand, right? Put it in my hand, put a couple of drops of carrier, apply to the back, like super liberal on the back, apply to the chest, apply to the back of the neck, because Ashley was telling you, right? Like when she's got sinus stuff, you drain in the neck, right? So you want to make sure you're applying up there. And then whatever is like residual left over, you apply to the bottom of the feet. So I do that typically every 3 to 4 hours. But if I do it right before, right, Kai goes to bed, he's usually good all night long. Or if I have to get up, it'll just be once. And then he's good for the rest of the night. So you might want to reduce the number of drops. If you've got younger kids, like under 4, maybe 1 drop each. But peace and calming is the secret ingredient if you've not tried it before for coughs. It's amazing. And frankincense is really good too. Those are 2 that I feel like we normally don't associate with coughs, but they're really, really good. And then I've got one more for you. Pain and inflammation. This is something that I deal with. I know Ashley deals with pain and inflammation too. And it's kind of an inside out like thing that you need to do. So first and foremost, for pain and inflammation, Ningxia Red, like for sure, 2 ounces at least of Ningxia Red. You do your sulfurazine powder. You can do half a teaspoon, make a red drink. I've actually got it right here. I just put it in a glass. I don't put it in the big Ningxia Red bottle. I just put it in a mason jar. And that's what I drink at least once to twice a day. The other thing that you can do, we call it a morphine bomb, but really it's just fantastic. So it's got copaiba, Idaho balsam fir, I think it's called grand fir now, and then frankincense. So those three individually are fantastic, but together they like work magic, especially for pain. So you can apply topically, or you can create a capsule, right? And put them in the capsule and then fill with carrier oil, roughly about 2 to 3 drops of each, whether you're applying topically or putting it in a capsule. This is one of my favorite things to do. So I Ningxia Red, sulfurzyme, right? My oils. And then topically on the pain site, for me, it's my lower back. I layer on CBD muscle rub. And then on top of that, I'll put on Cool Azul pain cream. It is like magic. I don't mix it together. I layer it on and it just, like melts it all the way. But if my pain is like really like next level, on top of that, I'll do like aroma seas and then a little bit extra peppermint. Oh, it is like amazing. In particular at night when I'm feeling a little bit more icky, I can really feel the relief when I do that. So I do think, again, Ningxia Red, sulfurzyme is going to help inside deal with the inflammation. And then you got that muscle rub with the Cool Azul on top. Oh, it's amazing. If you haven't tried it yet, put it in your cart. It's freaking fantastic. I've even done both of those, the muscle rub and the Cool Azul, like again, around my temples, like if I feel a little bit of a headache coming on, or like neck pain, shoulder pain, anything, those two together are fantastic for pain. Okay, I'm going to pass this on. I think we've got, is Chelsea or Jen? I know they've got some great protocols too.
I'm here. Can you hear me? I am a sweaty mess. Please forgive me. I know Jen's going to laugh, but I am now in a cheer coach and I've never cheered a second in my life because they don't have enough volunteers. So I'll be sure to send you guys videos of that later, but that's why I'm a hot, sweaty mess. But I have some stuff that, again, people are going to laugh at me, but I get poison ivy every year. Every single year I get poison ivy or poison oak because we have 11 blueberry bushes. And for those who do not know, for years I worked really hard in our old house to grow blueberry bushes and they didn't grow. And now we have them, but poison ivy gets entwined. And like we try to cut it down and stuff, but I get it every year. So I've perfected the poison ivy / poison oak protocol. And it's interesting because for years I've gotten it. I get it every single year and I will get it all over my face because I'm ridiculous. But when I start with the supplements, I noticed that it really cut down the time. I have the first year or two, I did need steroids because it was just really ridiculous. But I've cut it down a lot. So for one bentonite clay, I make a bentonite clay mask. It's so weird that I get it so much that I have to do this, but it's fine. So I make a bentonite clay mask. So if you don't know what bentonite clay is, you can get it on Amazon. There's some really good options. I like the Aztec one. So what I'll do is I'll get a little mason jar. I know, but I'm scared. I don't want to say that I haven't gotten it yet because then I will. So I'll put it in a small mason jar, one of the half-C ones. I'll put a scoop of bentonite clay, which is about 1.5 tablespoons. And then I will add lemongrass, blue tansy, and patchouli. So Tracy touched on it, that blue tansy is an anti-inflammatory. Lemongrass is so good. You guys, we use lemongrass all the time because my husband just loves the smell, but it's so good for everything anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, blah, blah, blah. So that really keeps it clean. So I personally find lemongrass to be a hot oil. Test it on a small spot and see how you feel. My husband does not. That's his night oil. He doesn't call it night oil, but that's what he puts on before bed every night. He puts it on his chest and it knocks him out. It helps him sleep. It smells really strong on him and he doesn't find it hot. I do. So I'll mix it in with stuff. So in the bentonite clay mask, I'll do about 5 drops of blue tansy, 5 drops of patchouli, and 5 drops of lemongrass. And then I will add 3 tablespoons of water. Okay. I like it to be almost a flaky paste more than if you were going to do a mask. Or a face mask. The reason I like to do that is because I want the oils to really seep in too. I want the oils to be a lot of the wetness. So since I tend to get it on my face, I will put it wherever it is in for as long as almost I can stand. So 30 minutes, 45 minutes until I'm just almost making a mess, because it does such a good job drawing out whatever is, which I know what it is. It's the poison ivy or the poison oak. I can see a physical difference in redness when I apply that and let it sit. Once it's super dry, it starts to flake everywhere. So like I'll either do it in the bathtub, on my face, because I always get on my face while I'm like reading a book or whatever, just somewhere where it's okay if you're flaking. The other thing that I do is tea tree neat wherever it is. I will go once a year, every time I do this, I will go through a whole 5 ml of tea tree because it works so well. It dries it out. It dries it out so well with no pain, no irritation for me. But I'm also taking sulfurzyme 4 capsules a day whenever this happens. I take 2 capsules a day of sulfurzyme. I know most people take a lot more, but I feel like 2 is my magic number. I double my sulfurzyme. So if you take 3 a day, I would take 6. Whatever your normal sulfurzyme number is, double it. It helps so much to kind of speed up any sort of hair, skin, nail issues. And this is definitely a topical skin issue. And my kind of secret weapon, I think, is Allerzyme. And this seems strange, but if you know about Allerzyme, what it really does is to help to stop sort of the inflammation and the nastiness in your gut it's intended as like a natural Beano. So if you're eating starches or beans and stuff and you have a lot of trouble cleaning those out, or if you have nasal, it'll help with the swelling in your nasal passages. So if you have allergies in general, regular sneezing allergies, Allerzyme is great. But I find that if I have skin irritation, Allerzyme speeds up anything that I have. I don't know if it's kind of helping cleaning out my gut from the starches and the lactase actually. So it helps with lactase. I wish I could be like, my diet's perfect. It's not. I do 80% really good stuff. And then I eat a blueberry muffin every day when I'm lactating, and I don't even care. It's like my thing. So if you're not perfect, it really, really helps. I like creamer in my coffee. And so, yes, you may take Allerzyme with Life 9. They're totally different. So good question. Absolutely. For me, I noticed Allerzyme really helps to give you a clean gut from things you're putting in, which would be, for me, starches. And I wish I could just be like, and then I eat really better. I don't. I take the Allerzyme. That helps speed it up as well. So much. And it all goes back to skin health, gut health, all kind of matching together. And for me, and I hope for you guys too, the key to wellness is being realistic with yourself. And I know that I'm still going to put dairy in my coffee. And so Allerzyme helps me clear it up and kind of keep it clean. So I do the mask to help pull the things out, the nastiness out. I do tea tree neat, and then I do sulfurzyme and Allerzyme. For years, I'm still laughing at myself, but it's fine. You can laugh with me. For 3 out of the 6 years I needed steroids, and then 3 out of the 6 years this protocol worked. Allerzyme, I do 2 a day for about 4 days longer and once it's gone. So I definitely recommend everyone needs Allerzyme. If you go out to eat, or if you eat a bigger meal than normal. But when I have contact dermatitis is really what it is. Contact dermatitis, for me, it's from poison ivy or poison oak and my blueberry bushes. But and I have tried long sleeves and long pants, so that's why it gets my face. Anyway, so that's really, really helpful for me, and I'll do it 4 days after. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I know a lot of you have seen me talk about it, but I think it's really valuable and heavy on my heart, is lactating. Max is 8 years younger than my youngest, and it's been a really long time since I pumped or nursed. And truthfully, it's been pretty heartbreaking because he doesn't latch very well. And this is about to be TMI Nation, but I got my period back 3 months after he came, and I had a great supply. And then every single month when my period comes, I'm like, yay, I'm making so much. And then it plummets to almost nothing. And it's heartbreaking. And I know some of you guys have been so great and so supportive on here of my personal journey. But it's hard. It's really emotionally hard when you want to feed your kid and then you're pumping and you go from this to this, and, you know, and I'm very much team feed your baby. And so like, if someone needs formula, I'm totally fine. If you need a supplement, that's fine. But it's really important to me to do everything in my power. So what I do is, now that I'm on a regular cycle, which feels cruel and unusual punishment, I have found a protocol that works for me to keep my milk supply really high. Well, really good. I feel like it's pretty good. And the first thing I do is I am absolutely religious with my Nutri-Red. I will keep a packet by my bedside so that in the middle of the night when, you know, either I pee or he wants me or whatever, I take that. So I'm taking 4 ounces of Nutri-Red every 8 hours. I find that keeping it in my system helps a ton. I am drinking an absurd amount of water, which I'm actually super proud of myself. I bought one of those, like, you're doing great cups, because, like, you know, I love edification. And I was killing it. And I didn't realize, I do actually really recommend those cups, but I didn't realize how much water I was drinking until I had to refill it like 4 or 5 more times than they even suggested. And I was like, oh, I am doing great. But drink a ton of water. And whatever that means for you, like, get it down. If that's adding Ningxia, if that's adding the vitality drops, which is made a difference for me. I'm not great with plain water. So whatever's going to take for you to be drinking a ton of water. I shoot for a minimum of 64 ounces a day. I also take Fennel Vitality. And I do think these next 2 steps are probably the key. Fennel Vitality, as most of us take CBD, which is under my tongue. It doesn't taste good. It tastes like licorice. Not a fan. It's fine. You'll survive. Put it under your tongue, and then I don't drink anything for a good 30 seconds to a minute, and then I'll drink water. I could be making this up, and I always hear Rachel say, put it under your tongue and it goes through good. And I'm like, I'm going to do that with this. I don't know if it works better. To me, it works better. That's what I do. And I do it every 8 hours, especially when I'm on my cycle. What I notice is that for 22 days of the month, I'm good. And then I have to spend at least a week building up my supply again. And then I continue, I'm okay. But basil in a roller over the breast, on top of the breast tissue, is fantastic. So those are the 2 that I think, if you can only pick 2, which whatever. Robin asked how many drops of Fennel. I do 2 drops of Fennel under my tongue every 8 hours. Even when I'm not trying to build my supply back up and I'm just maintaining, I do Fennel. I'll do a week on, 5 days off, a week on, you know, so that's fine. But I'll do basil here over my breast tissue. I am very intentional to keep it away from my nipples, because I'm thinking if he gets basil in his milk, he's probably going to be like, no, absolutely not. And then I did all this for nothing. So I try to keep it out of where the pump is. And I'm sitting here like, hey guys, this is such a good class I'm teaching you. But teach it here, or roll it here. You can also roll it underneath your armpits in your breast tissue down there. Some people prefer just to do the basil and the Fennel topically. I find the best results with the basil internally. I also find I'm drinking so much more water when I take it internally, because it tastes gross and I have to chug a ton. I also, and this isn't oil related, but it is what I do. Once my supply goes down because I get my period, I power pump. So I will pump for for 20 minutes, every hour for 4 hours. So then I'll do 20 minutes on, 40 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 40 minutes off for 4 hours. And I realize a lot of people can't do that because you're home. It's awful being stuck to a pump, but it really, 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 really helps. So I will do that the day my cycle ends to kind of get everything going, really going. I have skipped the power pumping and had great supply, but I find that it sort of really, really increases it for me. So recap, Ninja Red. Oh, and eat enough calories, guys. I know a lot of people, especially when you're postpartum, you're like, can't wait to get my belly back. Girl, bye. You're feeding a human. You're fine. And make sure you're getting enough calories, because you're not going to be able to make enough if you're not. Good calories, salmon, avocados, things like that. But please make sure you're eating enough. It's fine. Man, I freaking love you. So quick recap, fennel vitality under your tongue. I do 2 drops. Then you can do basil. I do it topically. You can do roll on, Ninja, drink plenty of water, and either pump or nurse on demand. But those were my 2, and I hope they're super helpful. And you're welcome for the show. Jen, you're next.
Hi guys. I just want to apologize for my voice. It's like kind of finally coming back. Apparently I was talking way too much at Boulder Treat, and there was like fires up that way. So the first day it just like really affected my voice because there was so much smoke. And then I just kept talking all week. So it just never came back. So I'm sorry you guys are just have to listen to me like this. Okay. So yeah, Tracy, it's rough. So worth it though. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a thyroid protocol, you guys. So I have an autoimmune disease called Graves' disease, which is basically an overactive thyroid. And I'm not going to lie, I pretty much made this protocol up by trial and error, because most people I know that have thyroid issues have an underactive thyroid. I don't know anyone personally that has an overactive one. But it's funny because just through talking to people, I mean, a lot of the things you're going to use are the same. So if you feel like you have an underactive thyroid, or you know you do, or overactive, write these things down no matter what, and just kind of give them a try. So if you guys don't know, your thyroid is basically the butterfly shaped gland, and it just sits in the front of your neck, and it's pretty important to pretty much everything in your body. It's going to secrete a lot of those hormones that act throughout your body, and they're influencing your metabolism and growth and development, and helping regulate your body temperature. So basically, if your thyroid is not functioning properly, you are not going to feel normal at all. And if you feel like you have a thyroid problem, you probably do, because about 85% of our population is suffering from an unhappy thyroid in some way. So I knew there was something going on. So this has been about 4 years, because I got diagnosed right after I started Young Living, and I started Young Living 4 years in September. So I had a lot of really random symptoms, fatigue. I felt like I had like water in my ears. I had really bad joint pain. I had lost 15 pounds in 3 months. I had heart palpitations. I had hand tremors. It was really funny because I remember specifically sharing something on social media one time, and my hands were shaking so bad. And I remember commenting on it, and I was like, do you guys hand shaking? Like, how weird is that? And so all of those things never fit in a box together. So I never went to the doctors, because I thought they were like these one-off things, that would kind of flare up. And so the point of telling you guys that is, if you have a lot of these random symptoms, don't ignore those. Your body telling you something is not right. And it could be a thyroid thing, but get some blood work done. I always encourage people to get their blood work done no matter what, just so that you can kind of have a starting point of where you should start with these kind of protocols. But the first one I'm going to talk about is EndoFlex. So you guys might know EndoFlex. It's a blend. So it has spearmint and nutmeg and sage, geranium, myrtle. I love myrtle, you guys. If you don't have it, especially for your little babies with respiratory things, it's like so good. You don't want to use eucalyptus with your babies, but myrtle is just, it's amazing. So anyways, so this oil is basically created to help balance your endocrine system, and your thyroid is going to live in that endocrine system. So it's really important. And, EndoFlex is supporting your thyroid, and it has a lot to do with emotions. So for me, using this, I notice the most with like my emotional balance. I mean, almost immediately, like several days of using it consistently, I like notice my emotions are back in check, like mood swings, things like that. It's also going to be really good for supporting your liver function, which I did not know until several years into using it, which I just think is so crazy how just all of these things are so connected. But all I really do, you guys, is I have a roller on it. I use it twice a day. I just roll it right over my thyroid in the morning and at night. And I mean, I think it smells really good. There was a point in time where I had like an aversion to the smell. So just know that's normal if you're using things every day. Sometimes your body just changes a little bit. You can take this internally. It is a vitality oil. So sometimes if I'm just like not really feeling the smell of it, I'll just take it internally. But just also know, you guys, that chemicals can just wreak havoc on your body. So, and it's going to really affect your thyroid. So while you're doing these protocols, make sure you're also doing your due diligence of getting chemicals out of your home, because it's going to be a game changer. So that's the first one. Just know that, a well-functioning body needs a strong thyroid. And EndoFlex is so helpful for that. So the next one I want to talk about is Super B, and this is not Super B. I grabbed Cortistop, which you should definitely get to, but let's just talk about Super B for a second. It's, in my opinion, it's a very special supplement that Young Living has. I've never had a B supplement that works the way that Young Living's does. It's a full spectrum B supplement. So you're going to get all of those B vitamins. It's also going to have natural folate in it. And it has nutmeg essential oil in it, which I personally feel like is the game changer in all of this, because nutmeg essential oil is amazing for your adrenals. And a lot of times when you have thyroid issues, you're going to go through adrenal fatigue, and it's really hard for your thyroid to get back on track if your adrenals are just in this constant state of fatigue. So by taking Super B, you're going to help with that fatigue that you're having from just your thyroid not functioning correctly. And then that nutmeg essential oil is going to start helping to heal your adrenals, which is going to put less tax on your body. Your body can work on healing other things. What else was I going to say? Oh, and also it's just much more absorbable into your body because it's infused with essential oils, and it's going to increase that bioavailability in just a shorter amount of time. And, the B vitamins are water soluble. So I personally just listen to my body as far as how many I'm taking. Sometimes I feel like I can get by with one and I feel great per day. Sometimes I need two, some days I need three. And I feel like I kind of go through, those phases where my body just needs more of that. And so I just listen to my body. And I think there is a lot to be said for that. You guys just, these are recommendations on the bottle. So if you feel like you need less than that, like that's okay. I always listen to my body. That's why I think blood work is also very important. But just know that the B vitamins, there are just so many important functions and are vital for just maintaining your good health in general. So definitely get the Super B for thyroid and just overall, just in general, for just keeping your energy up. I think it's literally just amazing. Okay. So the next one I want to talk about is EndoFlex, or not EndoFlex, sorry, Omega Drive. And this is just one that is just literally a game changer for me. So one of my really bad symptoms when I was, really in the worst shape with my Graves' disease and truly didn't even really know it, was my brain fog. It was so bad. And I was like, am I not eating good? Is this just what it feels like to be a mom? Is this just what it feels like to be pregnant? I truly did not understand what was going on with my body. And it's kind of scary, when you're dealing with things like that. Sorry, I didn't pull this up. So anyhow, it's hard. I know that a lot of people that deal with thyroid things go through a lot of brain fog. And Omega Drive is literally a game changer for me. To just say it pretty bluntly, I could not get through my days with an autoimmune disease like this without Omega Drive. It is literally the best fish oil supplement I have ever taken. So I tried a lot of them. Because for some reason I was just like, I'm not going to try that. Like I can get fish oil anywhere. You know, some products were like kind of stubborn about, and I really don't know why. I don't know if any of you guys were like that. I was like that with the laundry soap too. I'm like, I don't need that. Like I'm good with my free and clear. Didn't even know free and clear is just not that great. But anyways, so I had tried a lot of fish oils. I finally decided to give Omega Dries a try, and I noticed immediately, I was like, I'm not getting the fish oil burps. Like, that's so weird. Like, why is that not happening? And come to find out, Omega Dries is super special because it is preserved with clove essential oils, which keeps it from oxidizing and going rancid. So it's kind of gross when you think about it. If you're burping up your fish oil, it's likely because it's gone rancid. And it's like, once I found that out, I was like, okay, I'm never going back. I will only take this. One, because it got rid of my brain fog, the best out of any fish oil I have ever used, but also just thinking about the fish oil burps and why I was getting them really just grossed me out. So if you guys are not using this yet, highly recommend. Also, I used to hate taking fish oil because they were huge. I see how little these are. They're very small. I'm not good at taking pills. They're very easy to get down. So those are the main three things I would say if you have a not very healthy thyroid. Those are the first three that I would say, because I think they're noticeable differences. But I'm going to add in two more to talk about, just so that you guys can dig deeper if you feel like you need to. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, and I said this has all been trial and error for me personally. But I ended up, I think it was maybe like 4 months in, I added in, do you guys say Thyromin or Thyromin? Everyone says it kind of different. Anyways, here it is. So this is a supplement that was basically just created to maximize that nutritional support for a healthy thyroid. And the reason I didn't start it earlier is because I had heard really mixed things, you know, like, oh, it's not good for people with a hyperactive thyroid. And then I had heard, you know, people had great testimonials for hypo, but then my mother-in-law took it and she was hypo, and she said like, she just felt like she got mood swings from it. So it was, I mean, it was eye-opening to just, you know, everyone is different. All of our bodies function differently and we react differently to everything. So I was like, I'm just going to give it a try. I'm not going to like put myself in the box of like, it's not going to work for me because I'm hyper versus hypo. So I ended up doing it, and I've noticed like huge changes, you guys. I'm not on thyroid medication. I have completely done this holistically between my diet, water, exercise, getting better sleep, and adding in all of these things. I mean, it really truly is like a whole lifestyle thing, but this is really good. So it is, I mean, it's really just a powerhouse of essential oils. It has peppermint, myrtle, spearmint, myrrh. And actually, funny story, when I was first diagnosed and I told my doctor I wanted to do this holistically, he was like, all right, I'll look into some things. And I had literally just got my starter kit. So it wasn't even on my radar to use essential oils for this. And he came back and he told me that he had found a lot of like scientific kind of research, actual like studies on myrrh and the thyroid. So I was like, oh, well, I just got this set of oils. Like maybe I can buy that oil. And I did. But it's in Thyromin. So definitely look into that, you guys. It also has vitamin E that has a lot of health benefits, good vitamins, minerals. It also has potassium in it, amino acids, like I told you, a lot of essential oils. Just look into the supplement. It's amazing. It says to take 2 capsules daily and immediately before bed, which I've heard from most of my like hypo friends that is what works for them. Interestingly enough, I did that for a really long time, and I've actually noticed that taking just one for me in the morning works very well. And I don't know if that's a hyper versus hypo kind of thing, but like I said, listen to your body, trial and error to find out like what the best fit is for you. But I've had a lot of success with this, you guys, and I think it's really wonderful. So this Omega Dries and Super B, those are the great supplements that I personally love for just my thyroid health, and then EndoFlex. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was, do we have time for me to talk about a cream really quick, you guys? Are you guys all good? Okay. So one of the things when I feel my thyroid getting out of whack, I almost immediately know because my cycle gets thrown off so bad. It's honestly really bizarre, and I don't know why it happens. I mean, I know why it happens. You know, your hormones are all out of whack, but this stuff, I don't know why more people do not talk about this supplement, because it's amazing. So this is the Prenolone Plus body cream. I think everyone talks about Progestins Plus like crazy, but this has been a game changer for me. There was a period where I was just not getting my cycle for like 50 days. And that is not normal for me. I have always been like 28 days to the day, completely regular. But when my thyroid's a little bit out of whack, my cycle always gets out of whack too. And Progestins Plus was helping me, but I wasn't getting back to where I should be. And I knew like that is not normal. So I saw someone talk about this literally one time. You guys, this stuff, I literally sent it in our group chat yesterday. I was like, why do not more people rave about this? Because I go through, you know, like cycles of like using it consistently and then like stopping using it when I feel like normal again. But it's basically just a triple hormone cream. It contains pure pregnenolone. It's derived from soy and DHEA from wild yams, which you guys probably know about. But pregnenolone is basically just your precursor hormone to a lot of your sex and adrenal hormones. So like progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, and a bunch more that I can't pronounce. But it's soy derived progesterone. So it works in the same way that progesterone that is naturally produced in your body, which makes it more easily absorbable and actually used by your body, which I just thought was really cool. It's a broad spectrum cream. It's going to help boost your levels of estrogen and progesterone, both in men and women. I think predominantly women take this or use it, but men as well. But when I was reading about it, it's formulated to help with symptoms like estrogen dominance, and just look into like what estrogen dominance can do in your body. It's not good things. So it helps with that balance of that. And there's been a lot of studies that have shown that topical application of progesterone creams have a lot better results than taking them orally. So just something to look into. And it just absorbs faster into your body. And I've noticed in just one cycle, it gets me back on track from like the 60 days to literally like 30 to 28 days. It's pretty crazy, you guys. So it's all connected. Your thyroid does a lot in your body. It can throw a lot of things in your body off when it's a little wacky. So look into some of this stuff if any of that sounds familiar to you. I'm sorry I talked so long, but it's been a 4-year journey of figuring my body out and doing it naturally. So I'm really grateful for all of Young Living's products and ability to kind of trial and error to fit what works for me.
Sorry. Do we want to go ahead and jump to Rachel to share?
Hey guys, I'll just share with you guys a couple protocols. I feel like I share all the same things on a lot of the calls, but I'm going to give you some new things that I've been doing, and maybe some old info that you might not have heard about. So first, I will talk about maybe if you have a cough that has like mucus, have you ever tried Digize between the shoulder blades on your back? So that is actually, when I tried all the things and nothing was really helping, one of my close friends, crossline friend, told me to try Digize on the back between the shoulder blades, and then also on the Vitaflex points on the bottoms of the feet for, you know, just on the bottom pads, like right below the toes and on your toes. And then I took RC or Laurus nobilis, and I applied it on top of my feet in between my toes, like this. I did RC and then I would do Laurus nobilis. Another thing, I don't know if you guys have thought about for this, but I call them booty bombs. And it's a very uncomfortable thing for some people, but I'm gonna just keep it real with you guys. A lot of the people that have been in Young Living for like 20 plus years, this was just like a part of how they used oils, kind of how we do inhalation, with kind of how we diffuse and we make roller balls. They did booty bombs back in the day, okay? Because it's the quickest way to the lungs. And so there have been times where, like, in my family, I just could not get something under control with like breathing with my kids. Or one time it was my husband, and I was like, he would not let me do it. But so there are actually kits on Amazon that you can make your own suppository, and you would just add coconut oil in the drops, and then you put it in the refrigerator, but it's an actual mold. And then you have like these beautiful shaped suppositories. Or you could put, I mean, I know in a pinch, I'll just do a capsule, like an empty veggie cap. And the oils that I use, digest, again, because digest actually is really helpful with mucus, and any tree oil. So like Northern Lights, black spruce. I know that all sounds crazy, but so going in through your, is it your rectum, I'll just say it, or anally, that's the quickest way to your lungs. Really high absorption, and it's actually pretty, it's fast. It's a fast route. So I know for you that might be a last option, but that might be something that you can just kind of keep tucked away that you might find helpful, and maybe you haven't thought of. And then the last thing, because I know we might be wrapping up, is this is, you guys, I wish I could say I raindrop my family all the time, like maybe a lot of you, but it seemed a little expensive to me. I might have been a little intimidated in the past to do raindrops on my family. I recently did a Crossline class with a Crossline Platinum friend, and she's been in Young Living for about 8 years. Half of her team joined her team because of her raindrop training. And it wasn't just like, this is how you do it. Like, she would just show people, this is how you do the raindrop on your kid or your husband or even yourself at the first sign of not feeling great. And she said it got to a place where her friends would call her, and she would go over to their house, raindrop their kids, and then the mom would sign up with the raindrop kit on the spot. So literally after I watched her, it was 10 minutes of her talking about this. I think every single person on the call like made sure they had the kit. So I keep it in a little bag like this, all the raindrop oils. And I also have it written out, the order that they should be applied. I do not do the entire feathering and all that stuff. I just don't have time. So I learned about this a month ago. I've already used it twice. I've used it once on Sydney and once on my husband, literally like 4 days ago. The first sign of anybody not feeling good, literally like, they're like, I don't feel good. Lay them on their stomach. And then what I do, I get my little list out. I line up all my oils. And one of the things she talked about, and Mary Young talked about it, is it is very important that you go in order, because she was saying how like the first grouping of oils, they have a job to do to prepare your body. It's like a foundation. She talked about, I don't know, it's like some scientific term with your cells. And so she was saying like, keep things in order, and if they're meant to be layered. So with my daughter, I just had my carrier oil. I had all my oils lined up. I had the tops off, and with my kids, I did carrier oil first because a lot of these oils are really hot. And then I did 1 drop. Now, you might be comfortable doing 2 drops with your kids. You know, that's up to you. I found with Sydney, she responded great to 1 drop. So I did 1 drop, and then I would wait a minute, and I would go on to the next oil, do another drop on her spine. And I literally, guys, I just do a drop and I'd rub it up and down her spine. You could do the feathering. You know, you could watch the YouTube of how to do that. And then every 2 to 3 oils, I would get more carrier oil and just put it on her back. So I went all the way through until I did all, I didn't do the aroma seeds, I left that out, but I did all 8 oils. And one of the things my friend Sarah was saying is that typically she'll see like a turnaround, and if not, then she would do it again an hour later. And then she would do it again an hour later until she started to see the body move in a different direction. And so with Nick, I was a little worried about him because he just was not feeling great. He didn't have what's going around now. But I did the raindrop on him, and with him, I did 2 to 3 drops of each. And it's quick, guys. Like, it did not take me long. Okay, I literally just put it on the spine. The spine is where viruses live. So I've had people ask, like, why would you put it on the spine? But your spine actually holds all sorts of stuff, but viruses live on the spine. And so this group of oils is really great at helping to digest all sorts of nasty things. And so that's why you have these 8 oils. But Nick, after that, he went to sleep and he woke up and legit was a different person. So I was prepared to do it in the morning, but I didn't have to. And so I've never done this, guys. Like, I will do thieves and I'll do all this stuff. And I still did supplements and stuff, but I have, like, this is now my instant go-to. So literally, if any of my kids don't feel good with anything, this is from now on, this is what I'm going to commit to trying. And so far, twice, it has really been helpful for us. So I encourage you guys to get the raindrop kit. If you don't already have it, you could learn to do the full on hour, or 30 minutes, or I know Ashley does it the right way and she shortened it, but I think just get the daggone oils on your spine. Okay, you could say, we'll just add them all into a roller ball. I guess you could, just to get them on, but I liked layering them and applying them the way that my friend Sarah talked about. So that's just one new thing that I've been doing, that I'm like, okay, this is going vacation everywhere I go. This is my emergency kit. That's all I have for tonight.
I feel like you always have a lot, but that was amazing. You could share more. All right. So I don't know how many officially underground things we'll share, because it's been pretty for real. Well, y'all have been like, it's been pretty underground already. But Michelle, we are ready for you to share the ultimate underground.
I'm going to share my COVID protocol. So for those of you who don't know, I tested positive for COVID at the beginning of this month. I went to a wedding. I traveled for a wedding. So I was on an airplane. I was at the wedding. There was an outbreak at the wedding. So I came home. I tested positive. My kids and my husband never tested positive. We actually tested them twice during my quarantine, just at-home tests to kind of gauge our situation. They tested negative through the whole thing. So I'm going to share some COVID prevention protocols, and then I'm also going to share what I did once I was symptomatic. So for prevention, after I tested positive, some friends who are nurses actually sent me what they called the COVID prevention cocktail. So it's basically a mix of all of these different vitamins that are just really great for your immune system. So some of those vitamins are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, melatonin, and quercetin, I think. So I didn't start taking those until I was already symptomatic because I didn't know about it. Had I known about it before I traveled, I would have immediately started taking those. So when I travel, I automatically start taking Inner Defense. I up my Ningxia. I would have added all of these to my kind of travel protocol. So if you know you're going to be in like a high exposure situation, definitely start taking these. So I will tell you, for vitamin C, what was recommended to me was 500 milligrams twice daily. So Super C, I was taking 3 Super Cs a day. Super D, I was taking 4 a day. Melatonin, I didn't take any, but the recommendation was 0.3 milligrams a day. So if you take Sleep Essence or IndiPro, those both have well above that in melatonin. So you would be good with either of those two. Quercetin was 500 milligrams twice a day. I didn't have it, so I didn't take it. But that was the recommendation that was given to me. Zinc, 75 to 100 a day for a month. So think like kids going back to school, like if you're just in a new environment where you feel like your immune system might be susceptible, 75 to 100 milligrams a day, and then reduce that to 30 to 50 after 1 month. A lot of our supplements have zinc in it, but they're very low. So like 3 milligrams, 5 milligrams, things like Power Jives, Amino Wise. So if you take those, you're getting a little bit of zinc, but it might be a good idea to just add some. You can get zinc from your diet, red meats, nuts, hemp seeds, there are a lot of good foods that are really high in zinc that you could add to your diet. Also geranium and lemon essential oil. So there's some new research out about how those are really great for helping prevent COVID. So adding those to your wellness rollers on the front end. Yes, Casey, I'm going to write all of these out and put it in the chat so that you guys can just save the chat and have everything. So that is what we did. So my husband and I did all of those things. Also, as soon as I tested positive, we were taking 5 inner defense per day until we ran out, really. So like I tell you guys these things because I ran out of a lot of the things that I needed. And had I known that these were good to have, like I definitely would have stocked up on them. So stock up, get it before you need it. For the kids, our wellness rollers, all as often as we remembered, when you think about it, apply it all down the spine, wellness rollers with thieves, frankincense. I'm going to add geranium and lemon to their wellness rollers as well. For my toddler, so I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. My 3-year-old takes Mighty Bites every day, and we usually do 2 a day for her. But interestingly enough, Mighty Bites actually has vitamin C, vitamin D. It has zinc. It has B6 in it. So that's another thing I was taking is Super B. There's some new research out that, so when you hear COVID, you hear like cytokine storm, right? Like that's all everyone's talking about with COVID. And basically what that is a lot of inflammatory proteins flood your system and it just attacks your organs. So people are getting really, really sick. The new research that I saw was that B6 is actually being studied because it could prevent a cytokine storm. So B6 is really good for your immune system. B6 is good for preventing that inflammatory response. B6 is in Mighty Bites, Super B. So those 2 things are key. So I doubled my Super B. I usually take 1 a day. My husband and I doubled our Super B. We went up to 2 a day. We added an additional Mighty Bites for our toddler. I also doubled my sulfurzyme. So MSM is really good for inflammation. COVID's very inflammatory. So we doubled our sulfurzyme. I tripled our NACHA. So we went from 2 ounces a day to 6 ounces a day. When I was traveling, I was doing 4 ounces of NACHA. As soon as I got sick, I upped it to 6 ounces. Let's see what else. Okay, so oils. These are all things that I did once I was symptomatic. So as soon as I was symptomatic, I started doing, one of my first symptoms was a headache. I did peppermint right on my temples. It's going to feel really tingly on your eyes, but I did it right on my temples and on the back of my neck, and my headache was gone and it never came back. Like I literally did that day 1 and it was completely gone. For cough, like Tracy said, peace and calming. So my mom actually has COPD, so she really struggles with cough. She diffuses peace and calming every single night and gets her longest stretch of sleep when she diffuses that. So I applied peace and calming all over my chest, all over my back throughout the day. I have heard, and I haven't fact checked this, so I'll just tell you what I heard from somebody else, that peace and calming is actually really good for like muscle spasms. So if you've ever had like bronchitis or like with COVID, you just kind of get that urge to cough. I didn't have the urge to cough, which was good because I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So quarantine wasn't really an option for me. I had to be around my kids and I didn't want to be coughing all over them. So I did peace and calming during the day. And then at night, when the cough got worse, I did Thieves chest rub all on my chest and then Thieves cough drops right before bed. These cough drops completely took away my cough every single time. Thieves chest rub also, if you have kids, it's labeled for ages 2 and up. I use it on my toddler every time she has a runny nose from daycare. So if you have kids in daycare and they like always have the runny nose and you know you can't ever fall asleep with a runny nose, Thieves chest rub and sniffles in the diffuser is magic. So that is what I did for cough. For congestion, one of my symptoms was really bad nasal congestion. Not even like nothing was really draining. It was all just kind of clogged right there. So I couldn't breathe. So couldn't breathe through my nose. My chest was kind of tight. It just wasn't a very good situation. Also, so I live in Florida. 2 days after I tested positive, our AC went out and our house got up to 90 degrees. So just the breathing situation was a struggle in general. So eucalyptus was a really big one for me. I put 6 drops of eucalyptus in the shower once it was already piping hot. Like I would turn it as hot as it would go. And then I would get in the shower and just sit and breathe. And I could instantly feel my lungs, like I could take a deep, full breath, whereas before, like I felt like I just wasn't really getting full expansion in my lungs. Also with eucalyptus, I would take a really hot bowl of water. So yeah, the tenting on a big scale. So I did it in the shower. And then when I got out of the shower, I put 2 drops of eucalyptus, 2 drops of lavender in a bowl of hot water, put a towel on my head over the bowl, and just breathe that in for 30 seconds to a minute. And I could instantly feel just all the pressure go away from my nose. And a couple nights it got really bad. I just straight up put eucalyptus on my finger and stuck it in my nose. I couldn't smell at that point, so it really didn't matter, but it worked really well just putting it in my nostrils neat. Which one? That was eucalyptus that I used. Oh, which one? I had eucalyptus radiata. That's what I use. You can use any of them. Globulus, I think, is the strongest. So if you have that, I would use that instead, but I just used whatever I had. Also loss of smell. So I lost my smell on day like 4, maybe. It like kind of started to go out. So I immediately started doing what's called olfactory training. This is like a pre-COVID practice, but it's become a little popular with COVID. It's basically training your smell. So if you start to lose your smell, it's retraining your sense of smell by smelling 4 distinctly different scents all in a row several times a day. So the research that I found recommended eucalyptus, clove, rose, and lemon. So I took all 4 of those oils twice a day. I smelled each one of them for 20 seconds. Then I took like a couple minute break, like maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Then I would smell the next one. Doesn't matter what order you go in, just as long as you're getting all 4 of them in, do it twice a day. I never lost my sense of taste, and I only lost my sense of smell for 2 weeks. A lot of people that I talked to lost their smell for upwards of like 1 to 6 months. I was very religious about doing that for loss of smell. Clove, eucalyptus, lemon, and rose. I have a member who didn't have rose, so she used rose ointment or geranium, like whatever she could find that was florally, and it worked for her. So if you don't have rose, you could probably use something else, but if you have it, use that. And then the last one was anxiety. So when I get sick, it's usually I get progressively worse and then I get progressively better. With COVID, I got worse, I got better, I got worse, I got better. And with everything you hear in the news, like you just kind of never really know, like, did I peak? I didn't know if I was on the front end or the back end ever, which is really hard on my anxiety. So CBD calm roller all day, every day. Also, since then, I've actually come across some research that they're kind of playing with the idea of CBD as COVID prevention. So if you are going to be in high exposure situations, you might want to look into that. But for me, it was just really good for my anxiety. I also applied it on my rib cage because somebody had told me that they use CBD for cough. My cough was never really that bad, but I was also very religious with my peace and calming, these chest rub, these cough drops, and then the CBD calm roller on my rib cage. So that is everything that I did. I will post all this in the chat. And then I also have 2 links for olfactory training, just so you have science on it. One's PubMed, one's a medical journal. And then I have a link for the geranium and the lemon that I'll put in there too.
That was so good. Thank you so much, Michelle. Oh my gosh, I hope you guys took lots and lots of notes. So we're quite a bit over. Did we have it? But we have so many great protocols. I'm sure you guys are all like, yes, I want to hear more. Did we have anybody else who was going to share their protocol tonight? Or did anybody want to share something real quick before we end for the night? Yeah. Someone said, let's do a fave protocols call 2. I think we need to do this in the fall. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. If you haven't done it yet, check the chat. Make sure you download it. If you're on your phone, take screenshots. Michelle just put her protocol in there. It is amazing. Okay, did anybody else want to share a protocol before we go for the night? This call was freaking amazing. I loved it. We covered like all the things.
I just want to say for the people who are on the phone that can't download the chat, if you want, I'll download it and email it to you.
Luann, you're so sweet. That is so generous of you. Thank you so much. Chelsea says she loves you. We all love you, Luann. Thank you. What's the easiest thing to do? Can they email you, Luann? Would that be the easiest way? Okay, how about Luann shares her email and you guys email her? So she doesn't have to keep track of everything.
I'm not going to turn my video back on because it has been a day, but I am going to make images with all of the protocols. If you spoke, message me and I will make images compliantly as possible. And y'all know that's my jam. So I'm working on that. So if you spoke, if you don't mind texting me a little brief thing, and I will do those so we can all share them compliantly.
Thank you, Chelsea. We love you. That is so sweet.
Y'all put your email in the chat. I'll just take a snapshot of it and then you don't have to worry about emailing me. I'll
Okay.
just email y'all.
Thank you.
Also, Luann, you're a goddess and I'm obsessed with you. That was Chelsea. Love you. Bye.
Well, I do have $5,000 to spend this month. So yeah.
It's an inside joke. I love it. This was so good. This is like my favorite thing to do when we are in person. Can I just tell you, this is what we do is we share favorite protocols. We share favorite protocols. We're using oils on each other. We're swapping notes. And so this is kind of like our version of being around the kitchen table together to share. And, you know, thank you so much for being here live, because you just get all of this. So keep coming to the Oily Undergrounds. We love them. We love to keep giving them out to you guys as well. If you've got suggestions, let us know. We would love to address them. Did you guys like this? Did you guys just like us kind of talking off the cuff without a specific topic? And we were just like sharing favorite things? Yes. Looks like a lot of people liked it. Maybe we need to keep doing it like this. Just, you know, off the cuff, sharing all the things. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We so appreciate you. Okay, save the chat, or Luann will email you because she is freaking amazing. All right, so good. Okay, we'll be coming soon with the new Oily Underground schedule for September. I can't believe it's the end of August. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much for being with us tonight.
I do have to say, my husband just walked in when I said I had $5,000. He's like, what?
He's like, wait a minute. We're building a house here, Luann. That's what the $5,000 needs to go to. Thanks, everybody. I'll keep this open for just a second in case anybody else has an email to share with Luann.
I think we're good, Tracy. There's no more coming through.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you so much. That's so generous of you. We really appreciate it. You're the best. Okay, did you download the chat? You got it. Okay, good. All right. Bye, Luann. Bye, everybody.